realtor extraordinaire with experience long and beyond that. He's awesome. Rick Furhman, go at it.
That was good, all right. That was a good ad-lib. Okay, today's presentation is going to be kind of different. And the reason I make it is because I had a couple of glasses of beer with somebody in the group here. And it was a baseball game, thanks to John here. And he says, you know, what do you guys do anyway? He says, you know, I had a realtor and I bought our house. All they did was give us some houses to look at, sign a contract, and then collect a huge commission. He said, what do you guys do anyway? So I decided today to share with you guys what it is that we do, actually, and share a little insight that I have with the experience I have as to how I think when I go out and talk to people that are buying and selling houses. Unfortunately, Jason is gone today. So he's going to get all his questions answered, and he's not even going to hear it. So, yeah, I said not to publish it, but I guess we can do something private. Well, the first thing I'll talk about is if you want to sell your house. If you want to sell your house, there are a bunch of things that you can do before I even get there. The first thing you need to do is get all your stuff out of there. Get all your personal stuff out of there. If you have photographs, take your photographs off the wall. Take your stuff out of there, put it in storage. Don't put it in your garage because people coming through are going to say, they want to leave really fast. So we're going to come in and we're going to undercut their offer. You know, we want that stuff out of there and in storage. You want to be able to go into a house and be able to picture your stuff in there, not look at how good their stuff is. So that needs to be done before I even get on the scene. So people call me up, I'll come on over twice before I list your house. The first time is just for me. All the information I gather is so that I can help you stage your house, get it ready, and get a good price on it and plan for marketing. Lots of different reasons for selling your house. Maybe your family's getting big and you need a little bit more room. Maybe your family's getting smaller, you want to downsize. Maybe you're making a bunch more money, you want to buy a better house. Maybe you're not making as much and you need to get out of a house. Maybe you're going to jail. I've seen it all. I've had 2 clients that were actually going to jail, and I had one person that actually robbed a bank during the middle of the listing. Wow. So after 15 years, you've seen it all. So anyway, the first thing I do is I'm going to ask you why you want to sell your house. Why are you selling it? Because every reason is going to come up with a different way of marketing. If you want to just get as much money out of the house, it's time to sell it. You had it for an investment, then I'm going to market it one way. If you are moving into a brand new house and it's going to close in a month and a half, I'm going to market it a different way. If you need to get out now, I'm going to market it a different way too. More than likely, if you need to get out of it now, I'm going to send an APB around my office and to all my investor people and say, listen, this person needs to get out now. We need to come in with a cash offer now. How much would you do for it? Or how much would you buy it for? And that way we can get it done. We don't even have to put it on the market. We can take all the stress out of your life and just get you out of there. Doesn't happen too often, but once in a while it does. Second meeting is for you guys. Anybody that gets to the second meeting is actually interested in selling their house. I've determined that they aren't just trying to get information on what it's worth, which, by the way, I give to everybody free anyway, even if they just want an idea of how much their house is worth. But anyway, I'll give them a couple of different prices. And those prices are if you want to sell it immediately, if you want to let it sit on the market, or if you want to sell it in normal market time. And that's a couple of weeks ago I told you guys about Furman's Law. Furman's Law states that your house will sell at the market price, no matter what you list it at. And it's kind of a loaded question because of course it's going to sell for the market price, because the market price by definition is the price at which a buyer and a seller come together and agree on the terms to transfer ownership of property. If you don't have 2 people doing that, you don't sell your property, period. So there's this big discrepancy between people that are buying and selling. If you're selling your house, you think your house is worth this much. Inevitably, this is how much your house is worth. And the people coming in to buy your house think it's worth this much. So that's what you have to deal with when you're going to list your house. You need to price it properly. There is a place out here in no man's land called out of the market. And if your house is priced out of the market, You may get a couple of people going through the first couple of weeks, but then afterwards, nothing. You are inevitably going to get mad at your realtor because he's not doing his job. They're not going to call you back because I'm going to get yelled at when I call them back. You know, this is what normally happens anyway if you list your house too high. You're going to just not get anything out of it, and pretty soon you're going to want to take your house off the market. You're mad at the whole real estate industry, but the reality is you've just listed your house for too much money. Sometimes it's the realtor's fault, sometimes it's your fault, sometimes it's nobody's fault. Realtors go in and they do the best job they can to price your house correctly. If they price your house and it turns out to be a little bit too high, then you have to adjust it a little bit. That's just the way the market works. As long as you're out in this no man's land of out of the market, you're not going to sell your house. Even if you list your house for something well below where the market is, you still probably will sell it right at the market, because chances are, like the house I bought a couple of years ago, the day it went on the market, there were 7 other offers on it the same day. And I ended up paying more money for the house, and it brought it up to the market value. So chances are, if you want to list it and sell it quick, put it below the market, wait a little while, have your realtor twiddle his thumbs a little bit, go on a vacation, and then come on back. I've actually had 17 is the most I've ever had on a single house. And that was way up in Northgate, and we argued and argued about the price, and finally we put it at that price, and we got 17 offers on it. The problem is that if it gets too high, it won't appraise. So if it gets up there and it gets a bidding war, and you get bid up way above out here in La La Land, then the bank isn't going to approve the loan because it's just too expensive. They will approve the loan, but you have to come up with the extra money. You can pay as much as you want for a house. You can pay $1 million for a $100,000 house. You just have to pay cash for the extra part of it. And if it is an all-cash offer, there is no appraisal unless they want it. Okay, where are we? You've got your house on the market. It's staged properly. Now you're ready for people to come on in. You have the whole internet saturated. You have it in the Northwest Multiple. That's the realtor's job, to get it on the market, to get it going for you. Now all you have to do is sit back, hopefully. So then somebody's going to start bringing in some people to take a look at your house. When I come in with people, or actually when I meet with people to buy a house, there are a lot of people that are just looky-loos. They don't know if they can qualify. It's really important that you get people qualified before you even go out looking. Because if they do go out and find something that they really like and then find out that, hey, I can't afford this, sorry, you've ruined everybody's day, including the realtor, because he's not going to get paid on anything. So the first thing I do is I pre-qualify somebody, and I just ask a few general questions. You know, it's not my responsibility to get you pre-qualified, but I can tell you whether or not you'll be able to buy a house. And if you do qualify for it, I'll send you off to a mortgage broker who will get you pre-qualified and get you a piece of paper in hand. If you are looking for a house that's a little bit lower priced, say between $150,000 and $175,000 in this area, then you're in a multiple offer market. So anytime something that is actually worth $150,000 to $175,000 comes on the market, you're going to get 10, 15 people looking at it the first day, probably get 4 or 5 offers on the first day. So people looking in that range, it's really important to get you totally qualified, not just pre-qualified, but totally qualified. And that is going to give you a little bit more of an advantage if somebody comes in with an offer that is equal to yours and you're qualified, then more than likely they'll take yours over the other person. I'll get more into that a little bit later. So we're going out looking for houses. I spend a lot of time with people looking to buy to make sure that what I'm looking for is going to satisfy them. If you're looking with your wife or your girlfriend or your husband or boyfriend or whatever, it's really important to find out what's important to them, what's important to you. Because you don't want to go into a situation and find out, well, you know, I think this is just hideous and I am never going to look at any kind of houses like this again. You want to weed all those out before you get to it. So the houses that you actually go out and look at are going to be something that both you and your significant other are going to be happy with. And if I've done my job, I can show you 4 or 5 houses, and then you can make a decision based on those. Instead of going out and looking at 50 different houses and forgetting which one had the nice backyard, which one had the huge entryway, which one had the great kitchen. Everything runs into each other after about 5 or 6 houses. So any more than that, you're just kind of spinning your wheels a little bit. And that also means that I'm not doing my job. Okay. When we go into a house, the first thing I tell people, keep in mind, if you go into this house and you decide you don't want it, let's turn around and leave right now. Let's not waste a whole bunch of time in here, because then it's going to start washing into the next house. You want to leave as soon as you decide you don't want that house. So that's one rule. The next, we go in, we take a look around. I listen to what folks have to say. If they're talking about, oh, how nice this is and how nice that is, I'm thinking, well, you know, they're not putting their stuff in this house yet, so this is going to be a no. So I've kind of mentally checked it off the list. But if they go in there and say, you know, our couch would fit perfect, right? Our bed would fit perfect right here. I love this kitchen. Then I'm thinking, okay, now I can start paying attention. And I'll start paying attention, I'll start looking around. And if I can, I'll bet you 90% of the time, more than 90% of the time, when I go into a house, I know why that person is selling that house. And that is advantage to my clients. If I'm listing the house, my advantage would be to have another realtor go in and not know why they're selling the house. But generally, I can go in, I can tell why somebody's selling a house. I go into a little three-bedroom rambler that's 1,100 square feet. I see mom's picture, dad's picture, and 4 kids. Oh, okay, they're just moving up, no problem. I see a huge house with ma and pa, maybe middle-aged. Kids look like they've been out of college. Yeah, they're moving down. If I go in there and I see a house and there's mom's picture here, dad's picture is gone, kids right here, divorce, okay. It's also real easy to go in and take a look in the bedroom, because I go in the bedroom, it's really strange because men and women are really different here. You go into a man's house that's getting a divorce, and you've got the man's stuff on the man's side of the bed, the woman's is gone, nothing there. You go into the closet, and all the man's stuff is right where it was when the woman moved out, and hers is completely empty. There's nothing there. You go into a lady's house who's getting a divorce, and the guy's stuff is still over there in the corner for some reason. Not all the time, but sometimes. But you go into the closet, the whole thing's taken up. There's no space whatsoever. You may see a little shirt in the back, but that's about it. But they try to hide it, but they just don't get it hid, and I know exactly why. And if I call you up and you answer the phone, I'm going to say, I'd like to bring some folks by. Now, they say, well, you know, it's not quite right yet, blah, blah, blah. And I say, you know, it's okay for you to stay there. I want them to stay there. The reason is because I'm going to get information from them. Now, if I'm listing that house, I'm telling people, don't you ever stick around when somebody is bringing people by. I want you to pack up and I want you to go right now. Don't talk to them. If they ask questions, refer them to me. I'll answer all the questions. Don't talk to them at all. So I go into this house and I've told this person that I want them to stay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. My clients are taking a look through the house. I'm asking them questions. You know, how come you're leaving? When do you need to get out? How soon do you have to do it? Anything else I should know? So as much of that information that I can get is going to be an advantage to my clients to get in for maybe a better price. You guys following me so far? 10 more minutes. Okay. So let's get back to contract. Okay. So we found a house and we want to make an offer on it. Anything that's listed right now and sold, almost entirely, everything goes for between 98 and 102% of asking price. So if you're listing your house and you're thinking, well, I want a little bit of negotiating room, there is no negotiating room. You need to list it right at market value. If you do list it up here in the no man's land, all you're doing is helping your neighbor sell his house, because the other houses up here are going to be nicer than yours. And everybody going through them is going to say, wow, this one's so much better than this one over here. So this one over here just sits there. Nobody makes any offers on it. Nobody even comes in and tries to lowball them because it's just overpriced. It's obvious it's overpriced to everybody except for the person that owns that house. So we go in, we make an offer on it. Offer is pretty straightforward most of the time, unless you're in a situation where there might be multiple offers. And I have a few tricks up my sleeve to help people get in on a multiple offer. If you take my advice completely, you're almost guaranteed to get in and get that house. But you have to be completely flexible, and you have to do everything that is required to get into it. There's something else that almost nobody uses. It's called an escalation clause. It's one of these weird forms. It's all the way at the bottom of the list of 300 and some forms that the MLS has. But what an escalation clause says is, I'm willing to pay this amount for this house. You don't have to pay full price. I want this amount. Maybe it's a couple thousand below. So they go in with this offer, and then I hear that there's multiple offers on it. We get this escalation clause signed and delivered to them. What the escalation clause says is, yeah, we're willing to pay this price. But if anything is better than that, we would be willing to pay $1,000 or $500 or however much you want to put in there, above and beyond the best price, up to a maximum of this price. And chances are, if you've done your homework and you're flexible like that, you'll be able to get into that house. And in this area, anywhere in Pierce County, if the house is below $150,000, chances are it's not worth getting into in the first place. If you're trying to get a VA or an FHA loan, you won't do it. The reason you won't do it is because they require a lot of things, and the houses that are generally below 150 have a lot of work that need to be done on them. And VA and FHA houses require that you take care of all of the rotten wood, a lot of other things. If there's any sign of any kind of damage, they make you take care of it. If there's a roof problem, they make you take care of the roof. You can't buy it as is. So in order to get into one of those houses, it's really a lot of work. So anything above $150,000 is where you should be if you're looking for a cheaper house. After you get that, how much time do I have?
6 minutes.
About 6 minutes. Okay, after I do that, and we have the contract, now there's another round of negotiations that might happen. Now, if you've taken my advice when you listed your house with me, you've taken care of all this. But if you haven't taken care of all this, this is another round of negotiation for people. They bring in an inspector. I almost insist that people get an inspector. Even on a brand new house that I've had inspected, there was a whole sheet of things to do. Gutters hanging the wrong way, gas leaks in the furnace, stuff like that needs to be taken care of. But anyway, you go in there and you get an inspector. The inspector will generally find most everything that's wrong with it. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. But then you have an opportunity to do a little bit more negotiating. I tell folks initially that the things that they should ask for are safety related. Anything safety or health related, you ask for that. Even if it's if they have double offers or backup offers or whatever, you want to ask for anything that's health related or safety related. Anything above and beyond that, it's their choice. I'll advise them as to whether or not they should ask for it. If they really shouldn't ask for it, I'll say, no, don't do it. It just won't work. And after that's taken care of, you might be able to decrease the price of the house a little bit more, or you might get that taken care of for you at their expense. After that's taken care of, pretty much everything is in the hand of the escrow company. The escrow company has everything from both parties, and they try to put together this puzzle. This puzzle starts out with the property to make sure that it's free and clear and the person that's living there has the legal right to sell that property. And if there are any liens or anything like that, based on things like divorces or taxes or anything like that, if they've been sued and had a judgment against them, that has to be taken care of before it transfers. One time I went into a house with buyers and something was just wrong with the guy that was there. I was picking his brain and something was just wrong. I found out that he had just been sued and just had a huge judgment against him, and he had to be out of the house within a month. And we came in with a $25,000 low offer, closing in 2 weeks, and the guy took it. So, if something sounds wrong, it probably is wrong. So that needs to be taken care of before the title company will close the title. The escrow company will get everything from the buyer, everything from the seller, everything from the mortgage broker. And then when everything is taken care of, everybody comes in and signs. And once you've signed, then you close. And what closing is taking the piece of paper that's saying that we have come together and agreed on buying and selling this property, and everything is in order. They take it down to the county, and then they record it. As soon as they record it, you get recording numbers, and I can hand you the keys. And that's pretty much the process. And there are a lot of little idiosyncrasies that help us along the way. But that's kind of how I run my business. Other realtors run theirs a little bit different. But I hope that taught you guys a little bit. I hope you guys learned something.
If there's been a crime that's happened in the house, say a break-in, do they have to report that?
No.
What about a death or a fire?
A death may or may not be a relevant fact. Most of the time it's not. If somebody has died in the house, no. If there's a murder, sometimes they don't even know about it. Also, if there are sex offenders around, that's your responsibility to get that information.
What about meth labs?
Meth labs is a whole different issue. Yeah, I talked about that as another. The meth labs. The meth labs, if you are on a list, that house is on that list, and it's on that list until it gets taken off, and it usually is never. It's the buyer's responsibility to check that list, and if they don't check it, then they may end up with a house that used to be a meth lab. If it has been reconstructed properly, there won't be an issue. But if it has just been a quick slap on the paint and clean out the carpet, probably within 2 to 3 more months, you're going to start, you're going to get headaches, your respiratory system's going to go in overload, your eyes are going to hurt, and by then it's too late. I mean, you can go in and sue the people, but chances are those people that you bought the house for don't have any money.
Yeah, they're long gone.
Yeah, they're long gone.
On competing offers, do realtors ever say there's a competing offer to say a seller's agent is talking to a buyer's agent, you better come in high with this offer, we got some competing offers.
Yeah, it's my responsibility as the listing agent to get the best deal possible for my clients, bar none. That's my bottom line. I want to get those guys the best offer possible. Sometimes it's more money. Sometimes it's something else that's within the offer. Don't have any particulars, but most of the time it's a higher offer. And the thing of it is you can't lie about that kind of stuff. Otherwise, they're going to find out about it, and it's going to make you look bad. And unfortunately,
They don't have to show you.
No, they don't. They don't.
You just tell them, hey, I got another offer.
Yeah, I got another offer. So, what happens in the situation when I have multiple offers is generally I'll sit back with my clients after about a week, because I'm usually pretty sure that I know when multiple offers are coming in. And we'll sit down and we'll look at all of the offers, and we'll see if anyone sticks out. Any of them don't stick out, like this is a horrible offer, I wouldn't even consider this. And then I'll generally take those offers and go back to the other realtors and say, okay, we're in a situation, we have this many offers. I can either send what's called a simultaneous counteroffer, which I don't like, because that just means whoever gets back to me first is going to get the house. What I generally do is tell people, we have 4 or 5 offers on it. What I want you to do is come back with your highest and best offer. And it has to come back within the realm of reality. It can't be so high that it's not going to praise. So anybody that comes in, some people will just say, no, we're not going to go there. Other people say, yeah, we want the house, we're willing to pay this much more money. And if there's one smart realtor in there that has an escalation clause, we'll probably just take that offer right away.
But, the escalation clause would kick in right away if the listing agent just said that.
Not necessarily. No, I could ignore the escalation clause if I want to. That's the thing about being the listing agent, is I can go with the escalation clause if I want to deal with that offer. But if we don't want to deal with that offer and we want to raise it even more, we can do that. Or I can leave that offer on the side, deal with all the other offers, and if I don't get anybody willing to bite on a higher offer, then I can go back to that other offer and say, you got it. So.
What if somebody's selling their house in the summer and they know their furnace does not work and they don't disclose that? Is that a possibility that the buyer could come back and say, hey, you didn't disclose
Yeah.
everything?
There's something that we call a forms. Yeah, the inspector, that's one of the main reasons. But there are situations where maybe it's an estate, and maybe the sibling or the people that are handling the estate don't have a clue about it. That is a disclosable fact if it is required. And most people have to fill out what's called a Form 17, which is a property disclosure statement. It's about a 5-page document saying this is what happened to this house during the time we owned it. And most of the things are I don't know or I have no idea or whatever. But if they actually knew that that furnace was not working and they sold it, then they might be liable. But the thing of it is you know, a furnace, a brand new furnace might cost you $3,500 to $4,500. And a lawsuit, minimum, will cost you $5,000 just to pay for your attorney. So do you want to go through a lawsuit just for that, or do you want to just... I usually recommend that people buy what's called an insurance policy. American Home Shield is one of them, where you go in and you pay $400 or $500 and you insure everything in that house for a year. So if you go in there and something goes out, then it's insured, it's covered. I don't know if it would cover something that wasn't working originally, though.
And then this is the last question. We're out of time.
Look at this guy.
What's the going commission? I know
I was going to cover that, but I didn't get my. Sorry, I didn't mean to point at you, Peter. I didn't get my little easel back here. Commissions are all negotiable, but it just depends on how much somebody's willing to do for a price. Usually, if you look at a pie here, you can cut it into 4 pieces. Half of it goes to the listing office, half of it goes to the selling office. And each one of those half pies gets split in half. My pie goes to me, minus all of my expenses, and the other pie goes to the office for all of their expenses. And that includes all sorts of stuff. I think the very minimum that I've ever charged on a commission was 3.5% on a listing. The most I've ever charged is 16%. Wow. It all depends on the situation and what's happening. If somebody is just trying to negotiate my commission down and they've got a lot of equity, chances are I'm not going to do it. That's fine. Go find somebody that's willing to work for less. But remember, you get what you pay for. And I tell them that right off the bat, and I'm just honest about it. If somebody is in a position, this is why, Gary, I don't want this published on the internet. If somebody is coming to me with their house to list, and they need to get out of it, and they want to get into a brand new house, their family's too big, they don't have enough equity in it, then I start negotiating a little bit. You remember that gold Lincoln of mine? That was part of a negotiation. Yeah, somebody didn't have enough money to pay for the commission. I said, well, okay, what can we do? The guy had the Lincoln for sale. I said, okay, let's do the Lincoln.
Looks like commission to me.
Yeah, it looks like commission to me. The set of people that I did it for 3.5%, they just didn't have enough money to get out, and I didn't like their Lincoln. They actually had a 65 Lincoln, one with the suicide doors, but it was gone. I didn't want that. And I said, okay, we can do it this way. We'll give the selling office a good enough commission so somebody will come in. If it's below 2.5%, chances are the selling office won't even look at it. If you got a 2% commission, they won't even show the house. They're not supposed to look at it, but they do. It's sitting there looking at you every time you go into the internet and look at a house for sale. This is how much I'm going to get paid on it. So how do you not look at it? Okay. Thank you.